Hi, I'm Engine Cadet Caracas, and today I will discuss the application of UNCLOS to the maritime claims of the claimants to the South China Sea. So first, let's talk about UNCLOS. UNCLOS stands as the vital legal framework to establish and govern maritime rights because it helps resolve claims in the South China Sea. China and other nations such as Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei Darussalam, and Taiwan hold territorial claims that overlap throughout the same area. Through the UNCLOS states gain rules about establishing maritime boundaries by defining fundamental zones. First is the territorial sea, which extend up to 12 nautical miles from the baseline. Next is the contagious zone, a maritime area extending 12 to 24 nautical miles from a country's baseline beyond its territorial sea. Next is the exclusive economic zones that extend 200 nautical miles from the baseline. The continental shelf is the submerged extension of a continent extending up to 200 nautical miles from the coast where a state has exclusive rights to resources. And the extended continental shelf goes beyond 200 nautical miles up to 350 nautical miles if a country prove it is a natural prolongation of its landmass under UNCLOS. Because of UNCLOS regulations, each coastal state obtains access to the resources that fall within their exclusive economic zone. But overlapping EEZ regions have caused disagreements among states. China uses the Nine Dash Line to claim control over almost all the areas within the South China Sea through its historical maritime claims. But UNCLOS does not accept historical claims as valid criteria for obtaining maritime rights. The, the Permanent Court of Arbitration, or the PCA, through its 2016 decision, both denied Chinese maritime claims and confirmed that the Filipino EEZ was proper territory while China violated it. China rejected the arbitration court's rule, which created difficulties for enforcement. In this dispute, UNCLOS establishes a fundamental system by which it classifies maritime features for legal purposes. Every pontoon reef or island has a different capacity to create extensive maritime jurisdiction zone. According to the specific provisions of UNCLOS, only natural islands qualify for EEZ status, but rocks can claim only 12 nautical miles territory. PCA established that the maritime features China controls, including Mischief Reef and Scarborough Shoal, lack true island status because they exist only as rocks or low tide elevations, which deprive China of extensive maritime rights. Under the UNCLOS provisions, nations maintain the right to navigate freely as well as fly over the South China Sea because the United States and other states operate freedom of navigation operations. The seafaring operations conducted by various nations oppose Chinese maritime control policies, thereby keeping maritime trade zones and military transit routes unrestricted. The challenge of enforcing UNCLOS decisions remain problematic because various nations do not follow or implement its court decisions. China rejected the legal decisions which the Philippines secured from court despite its victory over its claim. China engages in one-on-one diplomatic talks because this method provides them an advantage over smaller nations. The South China Sea conflict solution will be determined by diplomatic measures together with international community pressures and the application of United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas as a legal framework for dispute resolution.